Good evening, folks. I'm Lila, and I'm here with Dean Val, and I'll be reading from Book 6, Your Dream Visions, by Dwayne, the Great Writer. We will also be discussing the readings. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And joining us tonight also will be Tim von Pinnon from Grants Pass. Welcome, Tim. And I'm so glad that you could be with us tonight. Okay.
Yeah, hi. I'm glad to hear you read too. It's always good to get to pay attention to the.
You always have such good insights about everything. It's wonderful that you're here. I feel very, very honored that you can join us and are able to.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Oh, good. Okay. In many different religious rites, there are usually the brides of the founder who give themselves over, such as the Mormons, who have many wives, while the headmaster is alive. Then there are the brides of the deceased, who often wear black, which is many times a sign of death, power, and control. It's interesting to note how most people wear black to funerals, and especially women, who will become the heirs of what their husbands have accumulated. Sometimes it is so. They are more than happy to see their hard-working husbands leave this world, as they usually have other lovers to share in their new fortunes. My goodness. Of course, that doesn't always happen, but attitude and intent are very important to understand, and most people are not really that interested, but focus more on laws and regulations or morals and desires. Through this series of experiences and writings, I am giving the public a start to real guidance and their real education. There is a constant symbolism going on all around us, and for the most part, those who have been conditioned with a literal sense only, they usually find most of what they are taking place is to be only a literal sense or a front, as they are not that interested in seeing beyond the fronts of this world of appearances. Black is usually the symbol of the dark side and can even be a part of the secondary light, which most people see coming from the astral world. Excuse me. The old idea of the light at the end of the tunnel is true because it is the first tunnel into the astral heaven, but not the real light which one is experiencing. It is like a fake Rolex to where it looks exactly. And I think that Rolex is fake because it looks exactly like the original, but it isn't. Do you have something to say? People usually wear black, to funerals because it symbolizes death, but people are really caught up in this, and it's just a fake emotion or something. It looks like they're really sad, but as it just said, as he said, sometimes it is so that they are more than happy to see their hard-working husband leave this world, as they usually have some other lovers to share their newfound fortune with. So attitude and intent are very important to understand, and most people are not really that interested, but focus more on laws, regulations, or morals and desires. What do you think of that? Val or Tim?
Well, I was just listening to a girl on Facebook. She just was interviewed by a TV personality about, she used to be in the Amish community in Pennsylvania. She talked Dutch Pennsylvanian or Dutch German. She left the community at 18. She just said, "This is not for me," and she just described the place as just a lot of restrictions. I mean, just like total dress code, chores, different rituals. You know, if you want to go on a date with a boy, there's a certain way to do it, which was really odd, by the way. So she decided to leave and leave the community because of all the restrictions, and that's kind of like she became aware that most people here aren't aware of their restrictions, and they're just fine with them, and they go along with it, with their agreement. So this girl was kind of a risk taker, and it was kind of neat to listen to her story.
Yeah, well, most people are given stories and tales during their life about the afterworlds. But what they are not given is the ability to visit the heavens of man while they're still in their physical state. Most people are seeking personified love, and this comes out in occultism, as a person is seeking for their soulmate. Even though a person is married and even happy or unhappy in their relationship, they will unconsciously seek out another to be satisfied with. And so this desire materializes in a person's dreams as a searching for something while the person is lonely within themselves. Because all of us experience the human consciousness, we must deal with what is taking place here and all the complexity and pieces which are involved to make any situation workable. The basic idea is to mate, but it does not always work out for a lot of people to complete a transaction. Each lifetime they are here. So a carryover from all the assumptions and imaginings of many previous lives is carried to where the individual may have had a relationship, but then here comes a war and a separation of the two involved. And then there is a case of a lonely, unlovely couple where the two are physically attracted, and then in future lives their appearance changes. But still, the desire is there. So with all this complexity around the humanness of those experiencing this level, there is a lot to deal with. All are searching for one true love. The all is, not the gods of man, whom many like to worship along with our Savior. In Book 2, A Journey on Real Freedom, I share a lot of my experiences going through the various levels and meeting the gods of man. To most, what I am laying out would seem outrageous, but actually it is no different than meeting the President of the United States, as both of these entities are basically the same sinking boat. It's a matter of where one is standing and what experience he has. An example is to many that Donald Trump and Martha Stewart are doing seems to be such a big deal because for most, this world equates to sex and money. So these two, along with the countless others, seem to be at the top of life. But this is the image one accepts, as they love to project their fronts, because many people will pay them a lot of money. What they have, many may work for and it might work for a short time, but not in the long run, and for anything of a real benefit. I will admit, because of the monetary system that has been created here, having the means to gain a position is important, but not more valuable than one's real awareness. I have always worked with this world, and I am still doing it. But what I am presenting relates to real freedom, and not just getting ahead financially, which will only last momentarily. Another psychological position people have set up for themselves is where they go for the big ideas and let their belief and faith be in the background to take care of itself. As a person relies on others to take care of them with their beliefs, and those who know nothing about the true reality, one is keeping themselves asleep to better possibilities. To reach the ultimate love is to first have real guidance and then learn universal positioning. When Paul Twitchell did his presentation, he referred to the journey as soul travel and stated this phenomenon to be in the lower psychic realms, only because, for the most part, any movement is an illusion. But as one is in the lower realms, within the pieces of life, then movement is part of the appearance, because we are in the new nowness of the all is. The term which best describes our journey is universal positioning. This is where we simply decide our destination, our position, and we are already there. It's true that we are, which is here, but it'll take a while to recognize the properly perceived that disposition that we have decided. A person first moves about the physical realm and the astral and mental worlds to get used to what is taking place with themselves, because these are familiar references. This is what the real guides do every night as a person leaves their body and is taught by the real guide. The rep systems do not teach anything close to what the real guides provide, because they do not know how. Even in the great deceptors of our time tried to accomplish anything real, they would be stopped in their tracks from being able to enter certain areas of other worlds and universes. It would be easier for them to go into the White House and have dinner with the president uninvited. The real guides know the intent of each person accordingly. A person cannot wholly have something real in the true sense until they themselves can align themselves with what the true reality is. The true reality is its own nature. It will not be given to anything that is not in accordance to what it is. This is why such things as belief, faith, hope, and prayer are simply for those who are beginning to understand themselves and cannot be the end result as to what I am referring to here. Again, the invented belief systems have created ideas for the unaware masses to follow, as they want people who are not as yet able to see beyond their own physical life and senses. The world of today is based upon takeovers and control so much more than it is based upon love and consideration. Love, or what has been defined as love here, is many times used to influence others and to get them to agree to something they many times do not want to agree to. So, it is not true love so much that is seen on this level of apparitions, but more so an emotional conditioning by those who have an illusionary power over others. I'm not referring to that of the love between a man and a woman, but more so the overall situations how they have been created in a worldly sense. The unconscious self is a lonely seeker and needs social contact. Amen. Because its very existence is based upon an activation by the real awareness to be a co-worker in the pursuit of happiness on this level. Unfortunately for all of us, we have been led astray by it our lifetimes, always wanting and searching for the perfect mate or love to satisfy us while we're trying to make our way with our own personal survival. As I've mentioned, most people do not take the time to get an overall view of the history they have already been through. As General Patton stood on certain battlefields, he knew he had fought this before. All situations, no matter how great or wonderful, vanish right before our eyes because we keep deciding in terms that this is the only reality that there is. And what the rep systems have told us and politically promised. So here comes another decided deformity, and that is because the rep systems have made their political promises for lifetimes to persuade the masses into their way of thinking. It only stands to reason that from all those lifetimes of empty implications that rarely, if ever, are fulfilled, all those individuals hanging on for the longest time and waiting for a satisfaction and remedy never really see it all. Then what can occur with people is a desire to get even by whatever means they see fit. This is where people become the mob thinkers and storm the authorities thinking that they'll get some form of satisfaction, even if it means destroying themselves over it. It's not really that hard to see how one attitude can last for lifetimes, even hundreds of unconscious rebirths, and still gain nothing from all the hassles. All frustration is from a lack of real love and will display itself in hundreds of different appearances with the conscious mind and within a person's dream visions. So the idea here is not about having a rebellious attitude, but one of becoming more aware. As I am writing this, I can hear the springtime mockingbird outside squawking away and looking for love. During our first embodiments, we do all sorts of strange things to attract the opposite sex. And so the onward momentum into the seemingly endless future begins, and our satisfaction is rarely successful. First off, one must learn to recognize their own creations and illusions before they can enter reality and experience real love from this level.